Basic Fun versus A1Up. Wonderland makes big bucks. Could T2D be $500? The Phantom Menace and Raw Thrills Top Gun on consoles? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Another episode of This Week, the show where we talk about what happened this week in home arcades. Episode 180. This is a big one, folks. Today, actually 2 days ago, the This Week show turned 4 years old. So on March 14th, 2021, we started the This Week show 4 years ago, and we've been going strong now. Yes, if you're going to do the math, there's 52 weeks in a year. So that would mean that we should be on episode like 208. I know. We took some weeks off here and there for Christmases and I travel and all that. So we're a little bit behind. I know, about 20 episodes behind, but we're hard charging towards that milestone of 200 episodes. So yeah, 4 years. And I will say at the top of the hour, the top of the show, that a lot of people in the beginning said that the show was a little too like organized, structured. What are you doing, Fox? Why the PowerPoint presentation? Why slides? That's kind of silly. What are you doing? Just relax, chill out. And here we are 4 years later, and a lot of those shows they've kind of gone the way of the dodo bird. They're not around anymore, but we still are. And it's because of you that we made it this long. So let me just say that you were worth all of the effort. Tonight, I am drinking Jefferson's. No surprise, my go-to bourbon, as always, the Jeffersons. Just like the show, if you get this, you're moving on up. So let's take a drink, everybody, tonight and celebrate 4 years of This Week. The show that happens the day after it's supposed to, I've always been told, This Week should happen on Sunday. On Saturday, because Sunday you're talking about the week before. These are just semantics. Okay, we're just gonna leave it the way it is because I think it's working pretty good. But yeah, I getting ready for the show, doing a lot of stuff. If you notice, there's a brand new intro video. The song is still the same. Some of the clips have been extended and moved around. Added a bunch of new clips, changed it up, freshened it up. Also, the studio has changed quite a bit. Got an extra monitor. Got the PlayStation 5 here for some live streaming, brand new capture card. And when you do that, you move like your lighting around. So that was the worst part. That was the part I was concerned about the most because my lights used to be right here, blasting in my face. And then you go change it. Now they're up here. It's like, I don't know how it's going to look. So let me know in the comments section, good or bad, thumbs up, thumbs down, if the lighting is good enough for you. I'm not going to change it though. But just let me know how you feel about it. Hope everybody had a good, productive week. I had a pretty good week, a pretty good weekend. Rained all weekend, so I didn't get anything done outside, which is great. Everything inside got done. Some stuff I've been really meaning to get on top of. Road Blasters is the last one that has to get. I'm going to swap the guts out of 2 cabinets to make mine right. I was going to say something else. I can't say that. Make it 100% functional, and I can enjoy that. And then we're going to get that all packaged up. And I think Molar Medic is the top of the bid. He's the top of the heap. He wants to be the one to take home the Road Blasters in whatever condition it may be. So that is another thing I'm working on. Also, another thing we're working on is the poll question. Every single week on This Week's show, we have a poll question, and this week is no different. And yes, I know that I misspelled WrestleFest, but when you're from the country, that's how you say it. You leave off the R. So sometimes you say wrestling, and I couldn't go back and edit it. So yes, I'm referring to WrestleFest instead of WestelFest. It's not some kind of weird alternative. So WrestleFest is what we're talking about. So the options are going to be Pac-Man, TMNT, WrestleFest, and Atari Star Wars for your favorite or your most excited or most anticipated Basic Fun 3/4 scale cabinet if it is $400 or less. We don't know what these things are going to look like. We're going to get into it a little bit later in the show, but just to throw it out there, The company's called BasicFun. If they made something in 3/4 scale for $400, $399, which one of these would you be the most excited about? It's an interesting question. Some of the stuff is rehashes. Some of the stuff is brand new. So we're going to talk about it a little bit later. So vote in the poll. Let your voices be heard. 39 votes so far, and it's kind of going the way that I thought, actually. Pac-Man's getting some votes. Believe it or not, Pac-Man is actually getting some votes. Okay, everybody. So let's say hi to the first 10, the top 10, the first 10, the top 10. The top 10, first 10? Sure. The first 10 comments in the chat. The show goes live, and as soon as it goes live, I start counting, and we have I know I say this every single week, but before I could even finish setting up the show, this comment popped up, and it was Milkman Classics coming in at 2:09 or 12:09 p.m. This guy was all over it. With the first comment, the number one spot, the coveted number one spot goes to you. Hey, Fox, look who's number one. Catching it on the replay because I have to work. The work will be basic, but it will not be fun. I see what you did there. Have a great stream, buddy. Thank you so much for being here and continuing to support the channel. It is awesome. Coming in the number 2 spot is Shogekko. Put that right there. Shogekko is saying, hello, folks. Make it a good one, Fox. I'll try. 4 years in, it better at least be decent. Coming in the number 3 spot is Sir Sega. What's going on, buddy? Yo, Fox. Hope all is well. Unico said they are sending me a new 26-inch monitor for the Nova Blast when they get it in stock. Playing the waiting game now. Well, that's disappointing, but at least you're going to get a brand new monitor, which is the right way. Unfortunately, because of the low stock, it's just going to be an issue. Replacement parts are going to be an issue. Not that you won't get those parts, but you're going to be, like you said, playing the waiting game, and that's the game you don't really want to play. Coming in the number 4 spot is Frank D. What's going on, brother? Probably just wild cherry Pepsi tonight. Also, leftover pizza for dinner. That actually is not bad. Minus the wild cherry. The wild cherry, I don't know. I can't help you there. Coming in the number 5 spot is James, who is mildly annoyed at some things. Hey. It's James. What's going on, man? Coming in the number 6 spot, Kevin V. Clausen. What's going on, buddy? Last night was the worst night of my entire life. I feel like I may have contributed to that in some way, and I apologize. But let's move on, shall we? Coming in the number 7 spot is Angelo P. What's going on, buddy? Good evening, Fox and chat. What do we all think about now having 3 making arcades, 3 companies making arcades? Do we think there is room for Iconic, BasicFun, and Ad Games to all make it? I didn't include 1UP. I think they've given up. The short answer, my answer, absolutely yes. When you consider what they're doing is all slightly different. And let's just get into it right now, just for the sake of argument. So Ad Games, for the most part, is focusing on virtual pinball. There's definitely a spot for that for sure. If BasicFun takes the spot, which is like the midsection, where Arcade 1UP's kind of given up and they take over some of that light work, some of the small to medium stuff. And then if you have Iconic doing strictly XLs, I think there's absolutely room for all 3. And then if you want another NBA Jam, RK1UP will be there in the back for sure. Okay, coming in the number 8 spot is Dan Z. What's going on, buddy? Happy Sunday indeed. James hates everything. Hi, James. Hi, everyone. Saying hi to everybody, not just me. I'm a little bit heartbroken, but it's going to be okay. Coming in the number 9 spot is Game Broker 84. Hi, Fox. Happy Sunday. Looking forward to the show tonight. Is BasicFun really going to release a WrestleFest? Thoughts? No, they're going to release a Westel Fed. Sorry, it's a bad joke. Yeah, I misspelled it. We'll talk about it. We'll absolutely talk about it. And coming in the coveted number 10 spot, all the spots are coveted, but number 10 is absolutely special. Well, it was until I read it. Fly, Eagles, fly. Come on, dude. It's the off season. Give me at least somewhat of a break. I'm not going to say congratulations again. Once is all you get from this Cowboys fan. Okay, we got Thumper Squid here. JJ is also here. We got the nerd jock. Michael B is saying, man, it's competitive to get into that top 10. Absolutely. These people are insane. They're focused. They got to get it done. Gino7823 Iffy is also here. We got Israel Gaming up in the house. Thank you so much for being here. J Rod. We got Jason Little Alien modding like a mofo. Thank you for being here. Eric Tharp is also here. Nova Palooza. Who else? We got Gramps Arcade, Chris C, Chris in North by Northwest. And we got the real Zim, not to be confused with the artificial Zim. The real one is all we want here. No fake stuff for sure. Stock Jock, what's going on, buddy? Brooklyn, the Menace. Great to see you, bud. Great to see you as always. Nice to see you visiting a non-VR channel. I appreciate it. I appreciate the help. MSU Rich is also here. B Kirby, what's going on, buddy? Great to see you as always. Miss G, how are you? No flashback footage. I thought about that, but I spent too much time redoing the intro. I'm like, I found out after the fact. Like I should have done a montage. Maybe we'll do a montage next week. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I should have had something. Bob, what's going on, buddy? Great to see you as always. WrestleFest, as it's the one I don't already have. Oh, there we go. There we go. Oh, still we got everybody's throwing in their 2 cents. I love it. Steve Sale, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Dustin, what's going on, buddy? Fourth Horseman, John J, Cat's Dad's Arcade. Let's see who else we got. P Dubious Maximus Fox. We asked for a stream for you playing the Star Wars arcade, and you did Phantom instead. What's up with that? One's easier to do. I'm working on the AV out for that. I want to capture that in all of its glory. It's coming. It's absolutely coming. We are going to make these things a priority for sure. Okay, Retro Roofer is also here. Saved by Zero. Everybody, thank you so much for being here. We got a lot of stuff to get into, so let's go ahead and slide into the first topic. Top Gun to consoles? That's right. Raw Thrills made a game. I made another game. They made a big game. All these games are big, massive, and you can find them at your Dave & Buster's and all that. These things are great. We talked about it a little bit on the show on the channel this week. We did a look at the sneak peek. And then we got the actual reveal trailer, and Raw Thrills was nice enough to send me over some assets to check out, to look at. And we talked about the 4-screen linkable cab going on, and all this stuff is really cool. And when I was watching the trailer, I said this several times that I'm kind of getting like Nova Blast, or not Nova Blast, not Nova Blast. No, I'm not getting that vibe. I'm getting Cruisin' Blast vibes. It feels like that. And a lot of that is just because it's an arcade game, right? It makes sense. But that's, the way that felt, I was like, this could really kind of just maybe, we could see this somewhere else. I saw comments on the video are like, hey, I wonder if this is going to come to consoles. Can we see this on Switch? So I reached out to Raw Thrills, and they officially gave me a no comment. You know what that means? You're telling me there's a chance. That's right. I think that it's possible. It's possible. Now, they won't confirm. They won't deny either. And that's the thing that's really cool. Do we want another Cruisin' Blast clone, another Cruisin' Blast type game, but set in the Top Gun world? Absolutely. Absolutely. Not all games are going to be all about the realism, the flight sim. Flight sim game, this will not be. This will 100% not be a flight sim game for sure, but it's going to be very arcadey. I think it could be fun. I think that the last Cruisin' Blast was just a blast. It was fun. I absolutely loved it, and I enjoyed it. And it's really good to play on the go. It's really good to play with a couple, people. And it's an arcade game. It's easy. It's a low barrier of entry. Pick up and play. Everybody can have a good time. And Cruisin' was an excellent game to build on. It had an excellent history in the arcades. That's the one thing that Top Gun is actually lacking. So while it's exciting to think about this, you're building on a movie franchise, not really building on a game or a long history of games. Now, we've all played, well, I don't know if we've all played, but I've played for many, many years, hours, I don't know, a long time, Top Gun on NES, and really got the knack of landing on the carrier after like 597 tries. It took some time, but that was fun. It was very fun. And then I really like the Afterburner games. So those types of games I really enjoy. This is not going to be that. Like I said, really no flight sim whatsoever. This is not going to be this is not Ace Combat at all. So you're not going to have that, which is fine. If you want just an arcade pick up and play game. But like I said, Cruisin' was very much built on a legacy of arcade greatness. Top Gun is not. Will that translate to a Top Gun game? Is it really going to work out that way? I'm not exactly sure if it's going to work out to be some grand master huge hit. But if we're talking about a downloadable title, if we're talking about $30, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be fine for what it is. I am still curious if the mechanics are going to work out, but they did add a few things. Like the one thing that I did see was like the guide the missile trick sort of at the end. So you're racing each other. Whoever gets to the end, maybe that's like the final, not boss fight, but like the way you kind of clear the level or get a bonus is you just going to guide your missile to hit the main target at the end. You know, there's some unique mechanics there for sure. But like I said, is that going to translate into an awesome game? I think it's going to be a fun game, but will it be a great game? Will it actually live up to the level of Cruise and Blast? I'm not exactly sure. I really don't know. That Top Gun is fire. Yeah. Just jumping on, but the Basic Fun Arcade Cab WrestleFest would be the one that I would get. Absolutely, I hear you, buddy. Mike, he even got to sit in last week's board meeting and recommended new side panels on Top Gun. That's right, and they took my advice. They did. I have far more influence than a Michael B. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. That's right. I heard the commissions on Raw Thrills were amazing. Sadly, no, they're really not, because I can't influence any of my local arcades to buy one. That was the thing. You know. And you can probably pick one of these up if you've got about 25 grand laying around. So if you've got maybe 20 grand. So if you got 20 grand, I'm sure you can pick one up. Of course, it's not going to fit in your house, because of the two 65-inch monitors stacked on top of each other, plus a giant marquee above that. So I don't know. Maybe if you have 17-foot ceilings, there's a chance. So no comment. It's going to be probably I think it's going to be a successful game in the arcades. Will it be successful? Yeah, I mean, if it's downloadable, people will pick it up. It's going to have that Cruise and Blast sort of flair. I think it'll be just fine. Probably not going to set the world on fire. Probably going to come out. We'll talk about it for a little bit. We'll play it, and then we'll move on, which is what we're going to do right now, to the next topic. Could Terminator 2D be $500? Good God, Fox, what the hell are you talking about? So a couple weeks ago, we talked about Terminator 2D, No Fate. This looks like an absolute epic game. I did a video on my channel. We talked about it last week. There's other videos out there talking about this beautiful side-scrolling beat 'em up side-scrolling adventure game made by Bitmap Bureau, the geniuses behind some other great games that are not exactly cheap, depending on the format that you're wanting to buy these in, and that's going to be the main thing. Now, is the downloadable title for your Nintendo Switch or PS5 going to be $500? No. I mean, I guess it could be potentially, but I just don't think that's going to happen. That's probably not going to happen. That's not really what I'm talking about here. Last week, we talked about the fact that this is a cool game, sure, but the fact that this could come available for your MVS, your Neo Geo MVS, bringing this home to your home arcade if you've got one of these big beasts sitting around, or if you've got a consoleized version of the MVS board. A lot of people do that. They take the board, like usually a single slot, a one-slot board out of a cabinet, and then convert that to basically a console. And there's kits out there, there's wiring harnesses, there's actual shells you can put all this thing in, and you can play one cartridge at a time on your TV. But my main interest was on my cabinet. If I could just get this, because they were available right before on other games, like Final Vendetta and Xenocrisis were available as an MVS cart. Now, the MVS cart, the Xenocrisis MVS cart, I didn't get because that would probably be better for a dual stick cabinet. And while, yes, I have two sticks on my Neo Geo, it just felt like it wouldn't really fit the cab. But I did pick up Final Vendetta for the MVS. Oh boy, that ain't cheap. So let's look real quick at what's going on as far as the pricing for MVS cartridges. So if you've got a Neo Geo at home, if you're thinking about getting one and you want to get a new game, there's actually companies out there that make new games, homebrew games for your MVS. And of course, there's flash carts and all that stuff out there. And you can still get genuine carts out there, but you got to be careful about the ones that are, the shady people out there trying to sell you some sort of knockoff. That's not good. But here are some of the prices. If you go to Bitmap Bureau right now, the pricing is in euro, so I converted it over to American dollars, the best dollars in all the land. And you can see that these are not exactly affordable. I'm not even going to say cheap. I'm not even going to say affordable. So, yes, I like Final Vendetta. When that came out a few years ago, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that right now, because when you get this, you're not going to get the original version of the game. Okay, so this excuse me. If you want to get Final Vendetta as an MVS cartridge, the cheapest way to do this is going to be $358. It's hard to even say that. For $358, you're going to get the cartridge. You're going to get it in a cardboard box and a little bit of paperwork, but that's really pretty much about it. If you want to get a little bit more, you can step it up to the limited edition and the super duper awesome limited edition. I think it's just called super limited. So you have limited and super limited. $412, and then we go all the way up to $521. That's going to include a lot of the other stuff that I bought with my cartridge, my standard edition cartridge. And what are the other things that I bought? Well, if you have a Neo Geo and you've got the replaceable marquees, not everybody does. If you've got a single player, if you got a single slot MVS, you don't have replaceable little mini marquees. And some of the 2 slots also don't have replaceable marquees. But I do. I've got a big red. So it's got a 4 slot in it, and I need the replaceable marquees. So to get those, that's going to cost me $16. That's not terrible. $16 US. Then if you want to get the actual, instead of just keeping it in the cardboard box, which is fine, that's the way the original MVS cartridges were shipped and sold. They were in cardboard boxes. That's fine. You can do that. But I also want to get the soft shell, which is more like a clamshell. Remember the old Disney movies? And come on, everybody, hear me out. Everybody out there, you remember the Disney VHS tapes and those big plastic clamshell cases? Well, that's what I'm talking about. MVS cartridges were also available in some of these aftermarket clamshell cases. And it's not terrible. $27 US is what I paid for the Final Vendetta clamshell. And this is not out. This is going to release later on this year. So like Dubs was saying, hey, that was a great game a few years ago. Yes, it has been out for a while. I don't know if it's a couple years, probably a year and a half, maybe. Oh, you bastard. Look at the naysayers. Look at the naysayers. I bought Final Vendetta for like $5 off Steam. I feel like a good, decent bargain. Yes, at $5, absolutely. I'm not saying what I did was cost conscious or what normal people are going to do. Usually, you're going to get these great games, digital versions. Maybe you can go to Limited Run or something. Maybe you can pick them up as a physical cartridge. That's what I like to do, physical disc or physical cartridge. I like to have physical games, and you're good to go, right? You're kind of hedging your bets. You're backing it up. Hey, thanks, Kevin Clausen, for gifting a membership. I do appreciate it. Thank you so much. But the thing is that if you're going to go ahead and get, physical hardware like a cartridge, you're not going to be able to upgrade anything, right? You're going to be stuck with the version of the game that is available at the time. And that is something that's going to be improved on when this cartridge comes out. Right now, there is I don't think there's any DLC for Final Vendetta. There is a new version that's going to be on this cartridge. It's going to include a new character. It's going to include more music and move sets and all that. And it's going to have a little bit extra stuff. It's going to be the newer version. Now, I'm sure that newer version will be available as a DLC. It will be available as a DLC for you if you bought this digitally, you can get that. But this is going to be something just a little bit different, a little bit special. It's something for people that really want to have a new game for an old console, because Bitmap Bureau also makes them not just for the MVS, but if you look at the top, they make them for everything. They make versions of these games for everything, for like Dreamcast and Game Boy Advance and Sega Saturn and all this stuff. And it's just Nintendo 64. So you can get these cartridges on disc for different systems out there. The MVS is by far the most expensive. I think even the AES is a little bit cheaper, the home version of the MVS. So I acknowledge that this is going to be the most expensive way to buy the game. But my point is simply this. I paid a little less than $500 for the basic cartridge, for the marquee, for the clamshell, and then also taxes and shipping and everything. It came in a little bit under $500. But this is a totally original game that, there's no real licensing involved other than maybe some Neo Geo licensing, I think, maybe. I'm not exactly sure. But can you imagine rolling in the cost of Terminator, and all that licensing and all that money? Is Schwarzenegger going to be involved in some way? I don't remember seeing his specific likeness, but I'm sure it's on there in some way. So what's the cost of the basic MVS cartridge going to be? Now, this is not a problem for everybody. It's going to be a problem for some. Hello. Hello, Mikey Two Pins. We'll discuss this later on. So, but could this cartridge be $500 just to begin with? You know, just starting out $500. Could there be a $150 price adder for MVS owners, MVS enthusiasts that want to have a new game, which could be an absolute epic game? Very much the side-scrolling beauty that I think that it's going to be is something that would be absolutely welcome on an MVS. On a full-size Neo Geo cab would be great. Could it be $500? Possible. Is it likely? Don't exactly know. Will I spend $500 again when this thing comes out eventually? I mean, not that I want to waste money. I don't consider it wasting. I consider it an investment. I'm single-handedly keeping the MVS alive. Well, me and the other 12 people that would probably buy this, even if it was 500. Moving right along to one of the greatest games ever created. Just kidding. Wasn't good at all. It's really, really bad. Really bad at all. It was The Phantom. The Phantom. So just real quick, I wanted to tell everybody, this game is something that my buddy in Norway told me about. He's like, hey, this looks good. And I'm like, oh, that sounds really good. Art of Play was the company. And I said, let me just go ahead and pre-order that thing and just, let's see what this is all about. This is exciting because I like the old movie. I think it could have been really a good game. And the best thing about the game is the art style. And that's the thing that kind of tricked me, which is why I pre-ordered this. I know, sad. Well, maybe Mike was right. Maybe I do like to waste money. So the game was not great. Not great, not good at all. The art style does look really good. And like, that's the thing that kind of suckers you. Without seeing gameplay, just seeing images and screenshots, you're like, wow, this looks really good. Yes. You must have watched my video or maybe watched other videos. It is a glitch fest. It's not that the game just isn't fun. It's that the game is damn near unplayable. Close. Drain damage. Close. Yeah, it's the Phantom Menace. Let me tell you, somebody said that during my live stream, and I just laughed. I'm like, oh my God, that's perfect. That's perfect. But the game it's playable until it's not. It's playable until it absolutely locks up in glitches. It happened to me 3 times. Once while playing the game before the stream and twice on stream. It just locks up and it's really frustrating. There's a lot of things wrong with this game. But the way that it looks is not one of them. I mean, it's a gorgeous looking game. I mean, some of the art styles, absolutely incredible. And it's so sad that they could get one part of the game so spot on. I mean, just nail it. And just basically just like mess up everything else. I don't mean like one thing. I mean, they screwed up everything else. So if you've seen this, it's honestly, it's not even a game that I would recommend even giving a try. It's absolute garbage. Look at me. It's not worth $1. It's that bad. It's absolutely horrible. Phantom Menace only begins to describe the insanity. I mean, the people, it's a deviousness that is in the heart of every programmer who takes the time to make a game that looks great and plays like absolute ass. Don't do it. Go step away, pull yourself back, and find literally anything else to do. Rearrange a sock drawer. Take the time to clip your toenails. Sleep in by 5 minutes. I mean, anything would be better. Anything would be better than playing this game. But there is one upside. I've started a new series, 19K Fox Plays. We're going to start playing games. Something I've been wanting to do for a while, something I never got around to when I was the other job, traveling too much. It wasn't feasible. So we're going to start playing some more of these retro inspired games, talking about some of these, Shredder's Revenge is probably like the first one that really was like, wow, this feels like nostalgia, just like off the level, just like above 100%. It was so fun. And it really took me back. And a lot of these companies are coming out with these games. I've got several on pre-order that are coming. And like the Power Rangers game is coming up, I know. see, I've already got the Karate Kid. I've got the Shredder's Revenge bonus footage and all that stuff, our bonus version with all the other stuff on that. So we're gonna play some of that stuff, new games as they come out. But another thing I'm really excited about is my PlayStation 3 has all these great games on it that you just can't get anymore, and some of those retro inspired titles are on those. This was back in the late 2000s when they started coming out with some of these remakes. HD remakes of Marvel vs. Capcom 2. That was like the first time that we saw that downloadable title. I have that, but they completely redid the Turtles in Time arcade game, Reshelled. I think it was what it was called. It was like an HD sort of remake of that game. We're going to play that. Also, my 6-player X-Men game that was remade by Backbone, and it was a downloadable title in 2009, I think 2009. You just can't find that anymore. You can't. So we're going to take some time and play some of that stuff and dig into some of the archive that's on my PlayStation 3 hard drive. There's some great stuff there. A lot of like Strider. There was an HD remake of Strider that nobody ever talks about anymore. There's so many games that come out, and some of this stuff is just stored away on hard drives around the world. And I've got some pretty cool ones on my PS3. So that's going to be another part of 19K Fox Plays. It should be fun, highly enjoyable. And I promise it can't get worse than the Phantom, right? The Thing remastered, that looks really good as always. Power Rangers Out, bro, on sale right now. Reader's Revenge, I think is what I'm talking about. Reader's Rewind is one that's coming out. If you're talking now, I will say this: I like to get physical games, but I will do some digital downloads to kind of play those. If there's going to be like a big delay, I might do that. But I like to get physical discs, so I may be behind the curve. That's okay. I'm gonna stick to my my morals, my standards, my priorities. The Phantom is bad as G.I. Joe Wrath of Cobra. Yeah, I didn't play the G.I. Joe game, but it looked like it suffered from that same slow gameplay. Run, hit person, fall down, get up, kick. Like, you can't be punching and then spin around and hit somebody else. Or there's just some of the subtlety of the controls just isn't there on that game. And some of these games that they just throw out there is going to suffer from a lot of this crap, So you got to be really careful. That's where shows like mine are going to come in. I'm going to play the garbage games so that you don't have to. And hopefully we'll play some fun ones too. I look forward to watching those. Fox, enjoyed your play. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Now that I got a good capture card, thanks to my friends, Patrick, P-Dubs helped me out on picking the right one. I got an Elgato capture card. For some reason, just didn't. I just didn't like everything stuttered. The audio and the video was horrible, absolutely horrible. Yeah, it's out digitally, but physically is better. Glad Atari made it happen. Absolutely. I guess we could download it on PS5. Michael B likes to keep poking, doesn't he? It's okay. So do I. That's why I have 3 kids. So hopefully you're gonna stick around for that. Did you order your 4KP yet? But I'm telling you, man. Not yet, and I'm getting to the point where I don't even know why I'm waiting. I think I've got enough room, but I think I'm about to make some big decisions, and I think we'll talk about that when we get into the last segment. And it refers to our A1Up, 4K x 19K. There we go. That's right, buddy. It's like Phantom was made with it's Prince. It's bad, man. I'm serious. It's just bad. It's so like stand here, punch, wait, kick. It's just bad. There's no subtlety. There's no nuance. Sometimes you do moves you don't even understand why. But the whole locking up thing, you just can't advance and you have to just restart the level. And then it doesn't always save where you your most recent progress. So if you go to a level, so each level has different stages within it. So you have to advance to the next level, the next country, and you have to complete the first stage before it will save the progress. So what I mean by that is if you beat the last of the bad guy in India and then you go to Sweden, it doesn't matter. You have to complete the first stage before it says, okay, you've actually made it. So if you don't, then you got to start over back on a completely different stage or a different level, a different country. It's really frustrating. Some of the enemies being just off screen. So you know how the game will advance. It advances to the next frame, and you have to kill everybody within this frame, right? And then you can advance. Sometimes you would advance, but then there'd be one character left on the other stage that you just advanced from. So, and they were always unreachable. Like they couldn't advance towards you and you couldn't advance towards them. So you had to have bullets and shoot them. But like I said in the game, the bullets are just, they're the equivalent of a punch. It's god awful. And if you don't have bullets, you can't kill that guy. So you're sitting there, the enemy's right there. You can't beat him. You can't advance. You got to start the game over. That's a long-winded way of saying it's not good. Yeah, those bombs are absolute garbage. Your mama, your name, my guy, the capture card you got. El gato. What's up, Fox? How you doing, man? Great to see you, Pax. Hey, Bill, what's going on, buddy? Always great to see you, man. I'm about to try Cowabunga Collection on PS5, but I'll play it on my old iPhone, my old iPhone XR backbone controller. Sounds good. Enjoy yourself. The Cowabunga Collection, I got that too. It's awesome. It's just incredible. It's just really, really good to have all that stuff on one disc or downloaded, whatever you want to do, but I prefer the disc. Physical media is where it's at, Fox. I'd hate to have a virtual pinball machine or digital console. I couldn't play because servers are down. That's the problem I have. And now I know the workaround with the 4KP is that you can absolutely offload all your games and store them locally on the device. I know that, and I will probably, if I get a 4KP, I will do that. I need some pinball representation in my arcade. 4KP is the way to go. I think I'm just waiting to clear a spot, and I've got some arcade 1-ups that are about to go. They're about to go. Wait, 90K, are you saying you didn't like it, or do you need to tell us about how you really feel about that game? Yeah, maybe I'm being too subtle with my feelings on the Phantom, but at the risk of boring everybody to tears, let's go ahead and move on to the next topic. Wonderland making bank, $1 million. Well, close. So let's talk about it for a second. So fully funded. Very quickly, fully funded in 2 minutes. Now, I pulled this image. This is just a few hours ago. I pulled this image. I waited till close to going live to pull this up so we could look at the most current data. Over $500,000 for this Kickstarter. And I think it is 100%, not 100%, but I think it's in large part to the faith that the community has in the team behind it. And you've got some talent there. You got some Arcade 1-Up talent. You got some New Wave Toys talent. You have Think Up, the brainchild, very much a foundational member of Arcade 1-Up and building that brand up to what it is. And I mean, the faith that people that are backing this are showing is just incredible. They're expressing a complete trust in this company who is not really comprised of a bunch of real pinball people. Now, I am pinball illiterate. I'll walk up to a game, I'll play a real pinball machine, and I'll either like it or I don't like it. And I don't always know why. I'm a simple person. And sometimes I just say, that wasn't no fun. And I'll just go on to the next one. Ask Michael B. He'll tell you. It's not a very intellectual discussion I have when it comes to pinball. I think I like it or I don't like it. I think a lot of people are like that. I can walk up to a perfect example of the new X-Men from Stern. I played it the first time I played it, I didn't like it. Now, the second time I played it, I was okay, that was fun. That was fun. But, that was the thing that gets me is that's a company called Stern. They've been around for quite some time, and they've made some games that, like John Wick, for example, huge IP. Stern knows what they're doing, and that game is not fun. Not to mention the fact there's no guns. It's not fun. It's not a fun table. And I know that fun is subjective and all that, but it's not fun. I don't like it. A lot of people I know don't like it. And the thing about a physical game is that while there are different modes and software and callouts and all this stuff that you can absolutely change via updates or whatever to alter the experience, the main driver is going to be the physical layout of this game. I mean, the ramps, the rails, the toys, all that stuff. How's it going to play? Now, I couldn't tell you. I have no idea. I couldn't tell you what makes a good game. I can listen to some people talk, and I can kind of maybe see where they're coming from, and it's like, okay, well, okay, I get that. That makes sense. But I really couldn't tell you exactly what makes a good pinball game, physical pinball game. And I really hope, like hell, the people involved in making this can, and they know what they're looking for. Because, I mean, that you can't really alter it, physically. Not really. There's a lot riding on this. And this is a brand new company. And like I said, their first main product, and there is a lot riding on it. And I wish them the very best. I'm just talking about the hesitation I have and the reason why I haven't backed this project. I'm not a real big pinball guy. I think this is great. I think this is going to fill that void, that gap. For people that are more on the fence than I am, I'm going to be happy with a virtual pinball machine. Eventually get the 4KP, and I'll probably like it. That's fine. It's going to serve my needs just fine. And roughly the same price point. I say roughly the same price point because check out how many backers backed this at the limited edition level. Brand new machine. No one has played this in the community. The finished product or even the near finished product. We don't know the code. We don't know, we have no idea the game modes, how this thing's going to play, sound, feel, anything. And we've got 26 people that have backed this at $1,900, effectively $2,000. Now, when you're talking about a V-Pin from At Games, if you max that thing out at $2,000, if you don't like the table that you're playing, you just get another table. You switch it up. I mean, it'll come included with several game packs right off the bat, depending on which version you get. You don't have that option with this. And that's some of my trepidation with this. Going out and getting it, spending, $800, $900 just to get this and have this. I would have to play it first. And if it was a lot of fun, and if, I could hit the shots and enjoy myself, I could see me picking this up. But I would have to play it first. And I would have to fall in love with it to spend, $900. So I'm probably maybe not the target demographic. But I think that that's the big piece that's missing is we haven't seen a finished product. And I think it was a mistake to go to Kickstarter, without a finished product. That being said, Fox, what the hell are you talking about? They have over $500,000 in backers. That's true. And that's awesome. And I think that if this thing would have had some praise from some actual, and I'm not talking about me, I'm talking about real people that actually know how to play pinball and could sign off on it, and say, wow, this is really good, or this is really fun, or there's a lot of potential here. Or when you consider the price, it's incredible. Because when you're talking about a video game, it's easy to cut costs, but still maintain the same experience. So, okay, controls, oh, they suck. Okay, well, we can swap out better controls and we can upgrade that and we can have that experience. As long as the code is solid, as long as the emulation is good, it's kind of hard to mess that up. Now the cabinet build quality of A1Up is thin. Okay, I get that. I understand that. But the overall experience you can mimic easier than physical pinball. There's a lot of things left out there. Because everything is scaled down, how is the physics going to react? A smaller ball, less weight, everything is smaller. There's a lot to figure out there. Now, Kong is going to be there over from the YouTube channel. Kong's R Us is going to be there to check it out at WonderCon this summer. This is exactly when that's going to happen. They're supposed to have working prototype. I don't know if it's going to be finished, but it should be far along in the process to where someone can actually play it. And I'm hoping that's what it is. I will say this: when we all went to the Pinball Expo, we were hoping to see more than what we saw, and what we saw was just an empty shell. The overall physical outside, shape, the weight of it, and you could stand up next to it, lean on it, but there's nothing inside. Absolutely nothing. What are the chances that WonderCon is going to be kind of a disappointment? What is it? Where are we at? What level of completion is that at? That's a big question. So I'm not exactly last weekend in March. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it. Yeah, very soon, man. Very soon. Will they have that working prototype? Damn near, like production model ready to go. Like this is this is missing just a few little touches, but this is production. This is as close as you can get to the real deal, because there is only 24 days left of the pre-order of the Kickstarter. I'm sorry, not the pre-order, but the Kickstarter. And while it is fully funded times 5, they definitely, it's awesome. I'm glad they got fully funded. If the reports come in that this thing is ass, garbage, doesn't play well, not intuitive, or still not finished, how many people are going to maybe withdraw their pledge? How many people are going to maybe not and then get it and be disappointed, and then bad word of mouth spreads? There's just too many questions for me to recommend going and getting it, or going and, participating in the Kickstarter, other than you want to help creators get out there and do something. And there's other lower tiers you can do that. You can just donate, $10 if you want. I think for 25 or 20 bucks, you can get the deck of cards. If you just want to give them some money to kind of help them along, that's fine. There's cheap ways to jump in and show your support, and not have to buy the thing. That's what I'm doing right now. We're talking about it. It's a discussion. It's not a wholehearted, full-fledged endorsement of the product, but it's definitely worth looking at and checking out and considering and finding out more information about. I mean, it's definitely 100%. This is something that's going to be solid, legit, a real product you can actually touch and feel. Is it going to be worth the money? That's a question that I can't answer. And there's still too many things out there that I don't know that sort of prevent me from saying, yeah, you should go get this. Yeah, you should jump in and get the Kickstarter. Same thing with the iconic arcade. Media 1UP is doing that that cabinet with the sweet Street Fighter Alpha 2 artwork on it. That's really good. But there's still too much. I told you before, weeks ago, I've said this before, I haven't pre-ordered that cabinet yet either, because there's just too much left unsaid, untested, unknown. At least I got to kind of put my hands on that. And I think I'm further down the road as far as, or that product was farther down the road until we've heard about some of these other rumors and stuff. Now, maybe that will change. Who knows? So I'm still in the same boat with Iconic Arcade. I'm not at the point where I'm going to recommend picking it up. I'm not even pre-ordering it yet. I'm waiting for more information because, like you, I work too hard for my money. So hard for my money. Dun-dun, dun-dun. So I think it's worth slowing down, taking our time, and waiting for more information on Iconic Arcade and also on the Wonderland amusement pinball machine that could absolutely set the world on fire. They're treading new ground. It's brand new, something different, and it could really launch, just like Arcade 1UP launched these miniature little arcade recreations. They kind of just started this whole thing, and now we have BasicFun sort of taking the ball and running with it, right? This could be the same thing. Wonderland Amusements could do the exact same thing. We could see Stern make smaller versions of their pinball machines. Think about it. If this thing takes off, you could see a scaling down by other companies if they see this desire, this need, this want of a smaller form factor at a cheaper price. I think it's possible. Or it could just be kind of a one and done. Maybe they get this one made, maybe they make another one, and that's it. And they move on to something else. And maybe it was just a flash in the pan. It was fun for a while, but it didn't last. I don't know. It could go either way. It really could go either way. So I'm curious. I'm very, very curious about this. I want to know more about it. Am I going to get this thing? I don't know. I'm probably not, because I'm just not that big into pinball or physical pinball at all. But there's a lot of people out there that are. So I'm excited for those. I caution you to just take some time, wait, see what's going on, wait for B Kong to get his videos out there showing you the gameplay and his first impressions about it, and wait for other people. Hopefully other people will have the opportunity to get in there and just play and see if this thing is really worth getting. This is what I'm thinking. That's just my 2 cents, guys. But be sure to back Glenn's crowdfunding. I say the same thing about Glenn and the FU cab. I'm saying the exact same thing about that. You have to think about it and, wait and see more, see a fully functioning unit. If that's what you need to do, that's what you need to do. Because we're not talking about $20 or $100 or $200. We're talking about hundreds of dollars, near 1,000. So I think you need to wait. I think you need to wait. If you're not sure, wait. If you want to support Glenn, give him your feedback and tell him what you think and tell him what you need to see before you're going to pull the trigger. And then he can provide that. He can give that. So it's the same advice I give to anybody about anything. Wow, you are such a shill. I know. I'm super shilling for sure. Exactly. Wait. There's no rush. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? You're going to have to pay a little bit more for a finished product. Oh no. Don't give in to the FOMO of saving $100 to get something that you may not like. And you may be stuck with because there's no resale value. There's no resale market. I'm still waiting on the 4KP. I'm going to get it eventually, but there's no rush. It's fine. I'll get it when I get it, and I'll enjoy it, and I'll pay a little bit more than other people, but that's it. That's it. It's just the way. It's my 2 cents. It's the way I feel. I'd rather spend my money on a real vintage table if I had the space. I hope it's amazing, though. I hope it is too. Listen, I hope it's great. I hope it's great because the more stuff we have out there, the better. I mean, everybody wins. The more competition, the better. The more stuff out there, the more, like I said, this could kick off a whole subgenre of real pinball machines where we could see big companies coming in and actually contributing to this 3/4 scale real pinball setup. It could be incredible. You know, I think the jury's still out. I think I want to wait and find out more. And that would be my suggestion to you. You know, think about it, wait, and then and see what you see. Make the best decision for yourself. It is important to support these creators, these small companies that are trying to do something and bring something to the market. It's important, but at the same time, don't waste your own money. Vote with your dollars, right? So when you see something you really get excited about, like me and MVS cartridges, you know, buy those, spend the money. I paid $500 for a game that I could get, you know, for $10. You could download that title and play it for $10 on a Nintendo Switch or a PS5. But I wanted to support releases of new MVS cartridges. And if that's where you're at with this product, God bless you. Do it. I'm not going to judge you either way. But for me, personally, I choose to wait. Okay, moving on to the last subject. This is going to be a good one, guys. This is going to be worth all the marbles. We have been talking about this for years. At the top of the show, I said this is the 4-year anniversary of this week. We've been talking about home arcade stuff for 4 years on this channel, and it's been incredible. It's been awesome. Well, as far as a weekly show, more than that, but a weekly show, 4 years, talking about home arcade stuff. Home arcade companies coming and going, different things. RIP, iArcade. For sure. But there's been a lot of competition out there. Like I said, some hits, some misses, some swings. This will look nicely. Yeah, absolutely it will. You were excited about that's true. And that proves my point, Kevin. Am I happy about the money I spent on the Phantom? No. But I can take a $30 loss. I don't know that I could take a $900 loss. At least not more than once, for sure. Yeah. So hey, easy. Okay, all right. Mistakes were made with the Phantom. I get it. Okay, so moving on, let's talk about the latest entry into the home arcade space, the 3/4 arcade space. This is exciting. There's stuff going on here that I think could really like I said, pick the ball up where A1Up dropped it and run with it. BasicFun. So let's briefly talk about the slide that we've been showing for years, and that is the 15 form factors. Everybody remember this? The 15 arcade form factors from A1Up, all these different ways that you could play these arcade games through the years. Now, at one point, they offered all 15 of these. You could buy all 15 different form factors at the same time. I mean, look around the slide. There's everything. There's everything that you liked and everything that you hated. But it was, I think, too much. We talked about this since I started showing the slide. There's way too many ways to play Pac-Man. It's just not necessary. Focus on what, streamline this whole process, streamline these form factors, and focus on different ways that you actually could. Oh my God. I have earned a spot. Man, Fox sure has some sand in his vag. I earned a spot on the Super Gaming Dudes. Sand in vag, that's going to be clipped. Okay, that's fine. I will accept it. That's fine. Moving on. So I said, and many of you said, and everybody, or well, a lot of us agreed that 15 different form factors was stupid and it was an oversaturation. What are you doing? So the company is where the company is. Not 100% maybe due to just the 15 different form factors, but it was a problem. You're trying to do too much. Then we just got not even a video, but it was an audio interview with BasicFun at Toy Fair this year, talking about what they're releasing very soon. And we're talking about a whole line of stuff, arcade, 1UP / BasicFun stuff. And arcade 1UP was brought up directly in the interview. Direct comparisons were made. And BasicFun didn't back away from the comparison. They met it head on. So let's talk about some of the cliff notes, some of the things that were taken directly from the interview. So they said specifically, offering arcades in the counter form factor, freestanding form factors, slim versions, and then a junior series was specifically mentioned. There's also 4 major IPs they talked about. Pac-Man, TMNT, WWE or WWF WrestleFest, depending on if they go arcade or time period accurate, it's going to be WWF, which it appears that's what they actually did. And then of course Atari. And then they also mentioned the 4 different series. So kind of sort of, if you take the words that they said before, the counter, the freestanding, the slim, the junior, they broke that up into 4 different offerings. So you're going to have a junior series, a slim series, an ultra series, and then a supreme series. And there were some things that were described. So I'm really interested more, I think, in the ultra and the supreme. But the junior, I think, for the most part, we kind of know what that's going to be. Slim, we'll talk about that in just a second. Ultra and supreme, we're going to get that too. But Pac-Man, I think, is a given with pretty much anybody that makes arcade anything. You're going to get some Pac-Man love. That's fine. But when you look at the games that they're going after, you're talking about core, like the good stuff that arcade 1UP made. I need a little walkabout in his life. Make sure you clip it. I know it's coming. I know it's coming. I don't think it's fake, but I like an official BasicFun announcement before I get too excited. It's not fake. This was an actual. So what I did is I looked up the name of the actual. And I don't have the person's name written down. I forgot. But the name of the person that was being interviewed, I looked them up on LinkedIn. They are employed by BasicFun. It wasn't brand manager, it was some kind of marketing, but head of marketing or something like that. So the person that was being interviewed, they check out as an actual employee. If you go to LinkedIn, you can look at their name. And if you rewatch the video, he introduces the host introduces who he's talking to at the beginning of the top of the interview. So you can look that name up and cross-reference it, and you'll find him on LinkedIn. And he is employed currently by BasicFun. So it's absolutely real. All this information is real. We just don't have any videos or pictures. But I agree, more information is better. It's going to put everybody's mind at ease. But when you're talking about this stuff, you see some things you like, and you probably see some things that you don't like. For sure. I think BasicFun should just do Countercade, Deluxe, and XL, and not waste their time with Slim and Junior. Yeah, sounds like Taco Bell sizes. What are you going to get? You're going to get the 6-pack of tacos? The person being interviewed is a VP. I linked it. Yeah, exactly. He's actually, so Paul's got it right here. The guy's legit. The guy is legit. There you go. Thank you. Dan Westcott, Senior Marketing Executive for BasicFun. So this guy's legit. This is a real interview. This is real information. We don't have any pictures yet. We're just going to go with what we kind of know. So taking a look at all this, what are we talking about? Well, this is my opinion. This is my assumption. This is what I'm thinking. Counter cades, basically. Stuff that sits on the counter, right? So we're talking about countercades, we're talking about the party cades, but basically I think we're talking about the countercade form factor, 7 or 8 inch monitor. We've seen some success, not just with Arcade 1UP, who kind of pioneered this very specific sort of bar top with a very small screen. We saw that emulated by Evercade with all their cartridges. The Evercade Alpha was a big success. It looked very, very strikingly similar to the Countercade. So there's already been some copying and crossover on the Countercade, front. So it's not a stretch to think that they're referencing specifically a Countercade. Is it going to have light up marquees? I don't think so, because they didn't necessarily call that out. You're probably talking about that first version, that first generation of Countercades. Plywood marquees, pretty simple. But you're also talking about, a lower price point of like $120 ish, right? Or sub $99. The Junior Series, I'm going to assume, is a plastic, cabinet, but it could take a different form. The Dan Westcott, the representative, talked about his daughter playing some of these games, and the games run too fast. And so this is something that's going to slow that down. Maybe it's just a different version of like a Countercade, but it's a more aimed at children, and the games run slower. Pac-Man runs slower. It could be more of a software thing than a physical, thing. But I'm assuming it's going to have some different designation. It's going to look drastically different than the other in the series, I would imagine, to sort of distinguish itself from the others. Now, this is where things get a little bit funky, and you got to listen to the interview and listen to what he said. Ultra and Supreme. Supreme is bigger, better than Ultra. Ultra was described as having a lit marquee and games and controls. So picture in your mind something like that first, second generation arcade 1-up. I guess more accurately, the third generation arcade 1-up, where you had the lit marquee and the controls and all that, but it was still available without a riser. So Ultra could be riserless style cabs, riserless size, lit marquee, so third generation. Are we going to see the riser, no riser? I don't know. Conventional wisdom would actually think that, other than the physical length of the boxes being a little bit longer, the physical boxes actually being shorter, because as we saw with the deluxes, you can flat pack these things and have a tall cabinet in a shorter box. So the downside is going to be the extra wood that it takes to make a riser. So you could see some kind of a cheap version, a peasant-cade version, but it's a little bit taller. Is it going to be deluxe form factor, deluxe size? Probably not. We're probably talking about a little bit smaller. So I'm thinking something along the lines of this is what I'm thinking. Supreme. So when he talked about Supreme in the interview, he called out very specifically the coin door, the molded coin door, giving you that feel of, the original from back in the day. He talked about the coin doors on real arcades. I'm thinking that that's going to be more of the deluxe. So when you consider what he called out, what he's talking about, counter, form factor, Countercade, there you go. Junior is going to be something very much aimed at children, possibly plastic. Ultra is going to be more of the third generation cabinets, riserless, not exactly sure, but limited games also. That's another thing. When he called out the Supreme, he talked about the coin door and lots of games. Specifically Atari. When he was referencing Atari, the difference between Ultra and Supreme in the Atari cabinet, whatever that shape that takes, right? He called out the Ultra Atari and the Supreme Atari. The Ultra Atari had 50 games, while the Supreme had 60. Now, these are not all arcade games. You're going to have console games, 7800 and all that, 2600, all the games from the different from the home consoles are going to be included in this. Obviously, to get the 50 and 60 titles, that's what you have to do. So Ultra was going to have 50 games. Supreme is going to have 60. That's what you're talking about. So a big difference in number of games. You're going to have the lit, is it going to be a lit coin door? Don't know, but there's going to be some kind of coin door represented. I'm also kind of thinking back on the Ultra, maybe you just have a coin door sticker or just nothing, or a games list, similar to what we saw, like I said, with those third generations. So that's what I'm thinking for those form factors there. But let's talk about Slim. What are they referencing when they talk about Slim? Now, in the interview, he said that it is going to be 8 inches less than the other cabinets, 8 inches skinnier than the other arcades. So What are we talking about? Are we talking about like some kind of a countercade, some kind of a partycade? So it's slimmer, bigger monitor, or maybe it's the same size monitor as the countercades, but it's slimmer. The Slim series is their slim counter and their slim freestanding. Not exactly sure. If we're talking about the freestanding, we're talking about the Slim Katie. Very, very obvious, right? You have the Slim Katie on the right, you have the original NBA Jam on the left, and that's what they're most likely referencing, a slimmer version of the uprights. Is that going to be something you're interested in? Probably not, because that was really rejected by the community. The people that liked this, most of them did not like the slim versions. None of us was really saying we wanted it slimmer in depth. We wanted it slimmer in width. Give us all 2-player control panels. And that's going to be curious which way they're going to land when we're talking about the TMNT cabinet that they're going to make. That they're, they said it's out there, right? And it sounded like it's Cowabunga Collection, because they're in his description of the cabinet, he was listing off console games. So it could be a Cowabunga Collection type situation. I don't think anybody's mad about that. Now, I know I've said on my arcade cabinets, I don't want console games. And that's true. But if you're going to offer something, if you want to have a bonus, it's not going to hurt my feelings if you have some on there. But the main thing, the main cabinet should be, the focus should be the arcade ROMs, not console ROMs. Now let's talk about the biggest thing. Yep, exactly. Kevin, what do you say? Don't break our heart. We want XL. I think that's where Iconic fits into the picture. If they can get their stuff together, Iconic will be your XL form factor. And I don't think Basic Fun's going to tread in that direction. I think they're going to stay in the 3/4 inch or the 3/4 size. I don't think they're going to go XL, at least not initially. Now, if there's money to be made, and if Iconic fails, Basic Fun grows bigger. If they're smart, they can move beyond 3/4 and get to XL. But I don't think there's any immediate plans for that yet. More games are planned. Nothing XL size as far as I know. And they did talk about future games. They talked about driving games and shooting games. Didn't list anything specific, but I'm very interested to see what happens. But let's talk about the biggest thing, in my opinion, that they're doing. Basic Fun is going after the gold standard that Arcade1Up has developed. Now, this may not be your favorite Arcade1Up product. I get it. But as far as a cabinet that was universally loved, solid, and a great recreation, this 3rd generation Star Wars cabinet is great, really good. I regret getting rid of mine. But this is exactly what they're making. I listened to the interview again just to make sure, because I thought at first it was just going to be a Return of the Jedi cabinet. And I thought, well, that's not really the best. I wanted to see some of these vector graphics. They are including all 3 games, all 3 Atari Star Wars games. And there's something different about their yoke. Now, maybe is that going to be good or is that going to be bad? Now, if you listen to the interview, that he calls that out. He says, our yoke is he didn't want to say better. He said, our yoke is going to allow you to play all the games. So there may be something different about that yoke that's going to allow you to play different games. And that could be seen as a departure from the arcade accuracy that we liked about Arcade1Up Star Wars and what I consider the gold standard for that cabinet. You'd be hard-pressed to find a better Arcade1Up cabinet that recreates that original cabinet. I mean, this is up there with Tron and Dragon Slayer. I mean, excellent, excellent representations. They've done a lot of other things that were good, but Star Wars is just, there's something there. Maybe I'm a big goofy fan of Star Wars, and so it hits me a little bit harder. That's the gold standard. They are directly attacking that. They are going after that. They are swinging for the fences on their first outing. So they're basically going after the games, the cabinets that people still love to this day. The 3rd generation, the first TMNT cabinet from Arcade1Up. I still have it. It's still sought after to this day. Everybody prefers that one over the 2nd generation because it's just so god awful. Bad artwork and bad cabinet shape. They hit it out of the park with that one. And if you consider it's going to have more games from the Cowabunga collection, that's a plus. And Konami was specifically mentioned, so you may not get X-Men on your Turtles cab, but X-Men could be coming. You know, a lot of other Konami games could be coming. But they're swinging for the fences. They're going for Star Wars right off the bat. And this will be the deciding factor if this company makes it. Because I don't know for the money that it ever gets any better than Star Wars. You could talk about how it should be maybe if it was a deluxe version. And I agree. I would have loved to seen this in a deluxe. I would have killed to see this in an XL form factor. That would have been perfect. Awesome. But it played well. I mean, there's nothing bad to say about it, really. I mean, other than the normal stuff, if it's an arcade 1-up and it's thin wood and all that, and I get it. But I just don't know if you're gonna make it a 3/4 scale cabinet. I don't know if it gets any better for the price than Star Wars, and they're going directly for that. And this is going to be great for all of us because we're going to know if this company is worth a damn. We're going to know if this product is worth a damn. Because you're going to have the greatest comparison. Take one of the best cabinets that Arcade 1-Up ever made and compare it to this thing they're going to offer. And if it's better, worse, or equal to, well, then they have absolutely, if it's the equivalent, then they have absolutely taken the ball and ran with it. And at the end of the day, we will win. But if not, then it's just going to be a disappointment. So there's a big gamble when you go for Star Wars right off the bat. Kind of hard to mess up TMNT. That's going to be, that's pretty solid. But Star Wars is going to be where it's at. I want to know what they did with the yoke. How is it different? Is it altered in some way to accommodate some other game that I don't really like? That's going to be a problem. But that is absolutely going to be the telltale sign if this thing is worth a damn. Skin Katie? Thor, I'm having the same problem with spell. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's something. I tell you what, man. I love that they're starting with this games list. I love that we're getting something new. WrestleFest. A lot of people have been dying for that. Star Wars, if it's good, if it's comparable to what Arcade 1-Up did, everybody who wants one and can't find one can now go buy one. I mean, myself included. It sucks that I sold mine. We're not going to be forced to pay scalper pricing. And of course, Pac-Man. I mean, come on. If you got Pac-Man, you got everything. Right? Oh, would you look at that?
What the hell?
Yo, the sign is real simple, B. It says wrap it up.
Okay, it is that time, unfortunately, to wrap it up. Members of the channel, stay right here. You're going to be automatically redirected to the after show where we're going to talk a little bit more about the stuff that we talked about tonight. But before we go, we got to talk about the poll question. Let's go ahead and answer the poll question real quick. Jump up here. I'm getting 146 votes. Not bad. Thank you, everybody who took the time to vote in the poll. Your voice and your vote matters in the poll right now. And let's see what the results are. Okay, let's go ahead and boom. And I got to just go ahead and go so I can share that later. Okay. What BasicFun 3/4 scale home arcade cab would you be most interested in if it was $400? Okay, you had 4 choices. Coming in dead last was Pac-Man. Sorry, Pac-Man. Only 9% of you actually care about another Pac-Man. Coming in third place, this is a shocker, is TMNT. Ninja Turtles only garnered 24% of the vote. Coming in second place, first place, who took the top spot? Is it Star Wars? Is it WrestleFest? Well, the dark side is one. WrestleFest takes it with 39%. Atari Star Wars only got 26%. Think about it like this. I even spelled the game wrong. The name of the game is wrong or missing an R. And it still won. 39%. It's pretty awesome. So there you go. I think we got a lot to be excited about. We got most things we need to be cautious about. Whether it's BasicFun, Wonderland Amusement, anybody. Glenn's FU cabinet, Iconic Arcade. We need to be cautious about this stuff because we've all done this. We've been down this road before. We've been excited and happy. But we've also been burned. So take your time. Rest easy. It's worth paying a little bit more to get the thing you actually want and not the thing you're going to be stuck with and trying to get rid of. Everybody, thank you so much for stopping by and checking out the channel. You all have a blessed day. I'll see you all right back here next time. Peace.